Hello everyone, I'm Chen Shiyi. Here I would like to share my project proposal to you all. My project title is Social Integration of Students with Special Educational Needs in Regular Class in Chinese Primary School, a case study. First, I would like to introduce the background of my project. In 1994, the State Education Commission in China officially published the policy turning 随班就读, which means learning in regular class. Though accepting children with special educational needs, there are few support in this classroom. So, are the students with special educational needs socially integrated in the class arouse my willingness to examine. So my research question is constructed in: are students with SEN socially integrated in regular class? If so, to what extent are children with SEN socially integrated in regular class? My project is going to fill two research gaps. Firstly, based on the literature, I found few studies concentrate on the problem of social integration of SEN students in Chinese context. So my research is going to fill this gap. And secondly, the literature on social integration of SEN students are usually quantitative study. As a result, my qualitative study is going to present a more precise and more descriptive situation. Here is the part of purpose and significance of my project. I find there are mainly three purposes. Firstly, the results of study can let the parents know better about the situation of SEN students in class, which can give them some information to know the situation. And secondly, the findings are going to arouse the awareness of both school and teachers of the student with SEN. And last but not least, my findings are going to shed light for Chinese government to better examine the policy learning in regular class, which helps the government to make a reflection on the policy. Well, here's the part of literature review. First, I would like to say something about SEN student. Well, in China, students with mental retardation, visual impairments, and hearing impairments are three major targets of special educational needs, since they occupy the largest population of students with disabilities in China. Both Scholar Gu in 1993 and Deng and Pei in 2009 have concentrated on this problem. And secondly, I would like to give a definition of social integration. The sociologist Durkheim first came up with the term social integration in his book Suicide in 1897. Durkheim suggests that social integration refers to a certain level of attachment to the groups of people. And for the reason that inclusive education has been fast developing this year, so more and more scholars concentrate on social integration of people with disability. In 2002, Mahant suggests that social integration for people with disabilities refers to building relationships, being part of the community, and rewarding quality of life. And here is the part of social integration of SEN students. Based on the literature, I found many scholars consider social integration have several components. So I categorize in three main ideas. Firstly, it is represented by Collin in 1992 and College and Turbot in 1996. They consider social integration of SEN students is a member of a group having a friendship and interact with peers positively. Similarly, the scholars Vincent and Anita in 1999 came up that peer acceptance and peer interaction is of essential role of social integration. That means social integration refers to the student with SEN is able to participate in social activities and develop connected relationship with peers. And the scholar Golenick have different but also similar idea of social integration, and he categorized in three aspects. The first is the extent of peer interaction, secondly, quality of peer relationships, and thirdly, adaptation that occurred during social exchange. Based on these views on social integration of SEN students, I built a conceptual framework. You can see social integration mainly focus in three parts. Firstly, interaction with peers. Secondly, acceptance by peers. And thirdly, have a list of friendship. Based on the conceptual framework, I planned the sub-question of my research. There are these three. Firstly, do students with SEN have interaction with their peers? If so, to what extent are SEN students interact with their peers? And secondly, are students with SEN accepted by their peers? If so, to what extent are they accepted by their peers? And thirdly is to what extent do SEN students have at least a friendship in class? Here, I would like to share the part of research methodology. Well, the research approach I use in this study is qualitative case study, because this study is going to investigate the contemporary issue of social integration of SEN students in regular class. Besides, the results of the study are going to present for a wide audience who are concerned with the topic. So, qualitative case study is adopted as the research approach in this study. And selection of school. According to data, there are around 700 schools in Guangzhou, China, applied the policy learning in regular class, and the selection school is one of these schools who employ the policy. So, as the case school is being one of the schools, this study is likely to generate from a single instance. And also, based on information, there are 4 classes include SEN students in the selection school. Here, I would like to share the data collection procedures. Firstly is the sampling of the participants. Purposive sampling is used in this research. Totally, there are 8 teachers will be invited as the participant. For class teacher of the regular class which contained SEN students are the key objects of interview, since they are the people who know the situation of SEN student best. Also, fourth subject teacher will be also invited in the interview. And semi-structured interview is the main data collection tool adopted in this study. For class teacher and for subject teachers, each interview will be constructed in 20 minutes with face-to-face style. Here is the interview guides for teachers. Because time limited, I don't read for you. But I can give you a sample to share with you. Like, do SEN students in your class participate in group activities? If so, how and in what ways? Can you give me some examples? The question like this is going to note more situations about the SEN students, which can help me know to what extent the SEN student participate activities in this class. And here I would also like to strengthen the reliability and validity of this study. Because I'm not only invite the class teacher in interview but also the subject teacher. So I collect data in various approaches to ensure the validity of the research. Also, my interview reflect a methodology concern because semi-structured interview is adopted, aiming to give the interviewees a comfortable and a very free communication. And here is the plan of my work. In March, I'm going to collect data, and in April to May, I will do the data analysis and start writing up my proposal. And that's all for my presentation of the proposal. If you have any comments, I'm so glad to hear from you. Thank you so much.